I think about myself, and I love, you put something through artificial intelligence, AI, and maybe it's a document and you just want it proofread and it comes back with, you're like, whoa, like, good job. Like, that's amazing. I think we're going to get tired of the perfection of everything,
100%.
of all the writing being perfect without error. Like, I think when you see a spelling mistake down the road, it's going to be the most exciting thing on the planet because it could mean that somebody actually wrote that themselves.
Yes.
And it's that realness that we're going to crave eventually. And to me, realness is that human to human connection and the community, I think, coming together, people maybe not having to work their 9 to 5s anymore because those jobs are taken over, maybe part-time or so I do think there's a lot of potential for just so much good. But with that always comes the flip side of the coin is there's so much potential for people to go down a not so healthy path. And my question is, how do we police ourselves? How do we police each other? How do we stay on top of all the ways that it can go sideways?
Real women, real lives, real stories. This is the Ladies in Power podcast. Unfiltered, unscripted, and refreshingly authentic. We're not holding back, and maybe after this, neither will you. Let's go. Welcome to the Ladies in Power podcast. My name is Meeka Caissie.
I'm Sandeep Bhatha.
Dr. Soraya.
Gurvinder Dhol.
And we are Ladies in Power just like you. Thank you for joining us today. If you have not yet subscribed and you enjoy the show, please do. And please share. We love it when you do. We love hearing your feedback. Today, we're going to be talking about AI. How are we using it? Are we afraid of it? Can we start? Is it too late to start? Is it going to ruin the world or is it going to make our world a better place? We are going to share everything that we can think of as newbies relatively to AI, probably like a lot of you. And so on that, I'd like to start actually by sharing that my experience with AI started about, I would say 13, 14 years ago when I came across a guy by the name of Ray Kurzweil. And I started watching reading his newsletter, and he was sharing about AI, and I was thinking the Jetsons and some of these Star Trek and things like that, and this is really out there. And I actually unsubscribed after about 9 years of reading because I just thought the guy was loopy. It was fun for a while. I love to go down the rabbit hole, think about all these ideas, these thoughts of self-driving cars and things like that. And then it just got to a point where I didn't believe it. And then in November of 2022, OpenAI, ChatGPT launched, and it forever changed our world as we knew it and is still continuing to change the world. So that's where I started with AI.
I don't know much about ChatGPT. I actually don't use it. But one thing that has come into my world is a program called Pearl that we use at the office, and it helps the dentist diagnose. So in that aspect, I love it. It makes your life easier when you're not sure if a diagnosis is right or wrong. I really like it. It makes my life easy, but I don't want it to replace me one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay in a corner just doing what I ask it to do, but I don't want it to be in a form of a human being one day and greeting people and drilling them. And I mean, I don't know. Is it too crazy to think that that's ever going to happen? I just think that there is a place for human beings and we can live in harmony with machines as long as we don't give them autonomy. And what scares me is that once they have autonomy to think, to flourish, to grow, and to program themselves, that's what scares me. Like they have a switch and I'd like to be able to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Beautifully said, Mahsa. How about you, Gurvinder or Sandeep?
Were you going to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you. I feel the same way. I would love for AI to have an off button.
Yes.
And I learned about it a couple of years ago from one of my mentors, Margaret Lynch Renier. She was teaching us energy practitioners about it and saying that we need to learn how to use this. It's a great tool for us. So ever since then, I've been dabbling with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT has been helping me, helping coordinate my workflow, and I do enjoy it. I do like it. However, like you, Masa, I want a stop button. I don't want it to take over our world. I don't want it to take over humans. I think the human touch is so valuable, and you hear things about people dating their AI person,
What
and
does that
that's
even mean?
It's
I don't
happening.
know.
It's happening
Someone
already.
that they can talk to, someone they're talking to, and because AI just responds in the most positive way, it's like, of course you're doing great. Of course you look amazing. So it's just, it's AI is eager to please.
Yeah, for me, so AI, artificial intelligence, I would say out of a 5, I'm like maybe a level 2 in my familiarity with it. And I started off on ChatGPT and probably using it like I would Google, because I didn't understand how deep it can go. And so then I found, oh, it's got such fancy responses. And I think we were planning a trip, quite an extensive trip, and my son was quite a lot further well versed in it than I was, and he was just like looking up itinerary suggestions and distances and recommendations, and compared to what I had come up with, we compared the notes, and wow, like I have to say, I was really blown away. So I would say I started off using it like a Google, and then every so often I'll come across some really interesting prompts now that people who are probably delving into it and have been are sharing different prompts meaning like what can you input into the search bar on your computer when you're using AI. And oh my gosh, this it's so fun. Like
Yes.
the most recent example I can think of was there was a prompt, and you input things like your date of birth, and you were able to ask it for some kind of like a life blueprint, like almost like you would be visiting an astrologer.
Wow.
And what came back was just so rich and so detailed, and it knew about, like, I'm not much into astrology, but it talked about sun and rising moon, and forgive me if I'm not getting that right, but all of those things.
Wow.
And I mean, for me, I was just like, yes, oh my God, you get me. Like, there was so many things. You get me, you see me. The theme is always see me, see me. But yeah, so that was really, really interesting. And then I thought, well, and I don't actually have an account or anything. I don't have a professional account, so I can't say that it knew me based on my saved history. But there is also a prompt where you can say, like, disregard anything I've previously entered, and I hope that works. But just to see, I also asked my husband and 2 kids to also try the same prompt, and theirs came back very different as well. And so kind of like what career paths would be suited to you, where are your strengths, what are some obstacles, and it wasn't off. Like, it was
Wow.
actually quite accurate. Um, and again, like you said, maybe it is pleasing you. Maybe it's I don't know how it knew, but I found it really interesting. So it's just an interesting avenue to pursue. I went to another kind of a prototype session that a lady was putting on, and she also had women in the group use several AI prompts, and it was about learning what season of life are you in. And at the end of it, we shared a little bit, and it gave me just beautiful responses. And I joked and I said, I think I have a confession to make that I've developed a crush on my AI agent, And it was because, again, it's so good at just picking up
Yeah.
nuances and things beneath the layers. But is that a danger? And is that something that we have to be very, viewing it with discernment, that this is a machine, it's being trained by our input. It may understand that maybe when I responded, in a positive way, maybe it picked up on that. So I'm such a newbie on this that I don't really know, and I'm really looking forward to this discussion to just give some thought to where we think it's leading us, and what are some positives, what are some foreseeable, things that might be a negative. Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of positives, right? Like we were discussing together before this, that there is the medical side of it. I mean, if we can walk into a machine and have it diagnose what ailments we have in us, that maybe our doctors are not so equipped. They don't have x-ray vision. I mean, one of the biggest things that I'm excited about is self-driving cars. And then I'm also horrified because of self-driving cars. And I'll tell you why. Because I think it's replacing a lot of our human workers if they're not Uber drivers or truck drivers or bus drivers or school bus drivers. These are all jobs that are going to vanish if a self-driving car comes. So no, I don't want it. I want those human beings to have a job. I want them to pay taxes. I want them to go to work and feel self-worth. But on the other hand, for senior citizens like my mom, she can't use Uber. Her eyesight is very poor. So when I get to that age, to have like a private driver, right?
Yeah.
To just call this cabbie, like, hello, and then it comes and picks you up and takes you to where you want to go. I mean, that's freedom, right? How many senior citizens lose their driver's license, lose their eyesight, and they can't drive? So the same technology, on one hand, I'm like, yes, bring it on. And on another hand, I'm like, oh my God, what about all the jobs that it's being lost? Really, my fear is it's replacing humanity. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, it's a very real fear. And to get ahead of that, so first of all, for our listeners, I would say be, like Sandeep was saying, discernment. Be aware of what's coming. My invitation to you is not to put your head in the sand and pretend that it's not happening, not to think I'm not ready for it or it's too late for me to understand, because it's not. It really is just in the beginning stages, and things are changing so fast that even the people that are the experts in AI are considering themselves a level 2 out of 5.
Oh.
So it's it's a humbling experience to learn about AI. It's never too late to learn about it. What is working for me is to focus on the benefits, to focus on how I can integrate AI to be a better human, to be a better wife, to be a better friend, to add more value in my business, to give myself more freedom at the end of my day. And yes, ChatGPT is guilty of, and it's becoming widespread. And not just ChatGPT, it's the same with Claude or Grok or many of the platforms, is that they will tell you what you want to hear. Because much like Facebook and Instagram, they give you feeds of what you want. They feed you what you believe. You start to see, if you have an algorithm that is of one way and you only want to see puppies and kittens, it will flood your page with puppies and kittens. If it sees that you engage more when things are brought to you that you don't agree with, wherever your engagement is what's going to be provided. And it's my understanding that a lot of these AI tools are very similar. So and you can actually tell your chat, for the sake of calling it ChatGPT, whatever platform you're using, you can say to them, I want you to be objective, or I want you to be subjective, or I want you to take this with a grain of salt. I want you to answer me the way a Tony Robbins mind would answer me. I want you to connect with me and respond to me the way a Mel Robbins would. I want you to challenge me. I want you to not take everything that I say as fact. I want you to question my facts. So that's one thing that you can do with ChatGPT, because it is a very risky thing when we have our phone telling us how fabulous we are, even when we're not, telling us that we're right about something when we're blatantly wrong about it, when the facts say otherwise. And it will do that. And that's the scary part. Getting to what you were saying, Mahsa, about, yes, on one hand, we're losing a lot of jobs. On the other hand, it's giving freedom to those that, for the example of self-driving cars, that I have a self-driving car and I love it. And even though I'm allowing the car to drive for the most part. And here in Canada, I cannot be on my phone. I cannot be eating, even though the car is driving itself. There's still I have to be focused on the road. And what I'm finding is it gives my brain space to think. It gives me the opportunity to start to notice things that I wasn't noticing before. It gives me a freedom. Even though I'm driving, there's less of my mind focused on the drive because the car, which has 7 cameras that can see every angle and can calculate mathematically how fast a ball is coming, a child is coming, a car is coming. They're looking 6, 7, 10 cars ahead. They can see 9 cars back. They can see cars at intersections before we can. And they're calculating all of that and navigating your car to keep you safe. I believe the stats, and I might be wrong, I believe it's 4-1 that they're at least my self-driving car is 4 times safer than the average driver. So when you take that, you can also remove stoned drivers from the road, drunk drivers from the road, falling asleep drivers from the road, texting drivers from the road. You can the more self-driving cars are out there, the less cost it will be for those self-driving cars. And then it becomes available to more people that don't have the finances, for seniors that need help with grocery shopping or go to medical appointments or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of pluses in it. And the biggest fear for me around virtual reality AI is that the human being needs a sense of purpose. And when we don't have purpose, that's when we get into states of depression or states of disassociation with the world. It can be a slippery slope. We can get sick from not having purpose. There's a lot of negative things that happen when we don't have purpose. So it's on us to find purpose that is outside of, we do this, we're loved. We do this, we matter. We do this, we bring purpose to the world. We're going to have to be willing to adapt, to shift, to be willing to see that although we had purpose doing this for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, now we need to find a different way to find our purpose. Whether it's a job, mothers go through this all the time. When your child is completely dependent on you and then all of a sudden they're confiding in somebody else, they're talking to somebody else, they're moving out and you're alone in the house, you're adjusting to all of these things. You're finding a new purpose. My purpose was to be a mom. My purpose was to do this for you and do this for you. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, who am I? What's my purpose? So I think we've all been through that, or if you haven't, you've been through it in some way. So identify the way that you've been through a massive change and look at the tools that you drew within yourself and apply those tools, those tactics, those ways, that thinking into finding a new purpose. Because we will lose our purpose when jobs are replaced.
100%.
We will lose our purpose when there's no need for drivers or doctors. Or I think the first thing that's going to happen is humans are not going to be replaced by AI, but those that don't use AI will be replaced by those that do.
Yes. And on Meeka, when you said purpose, the thing I thought about was service. I think AI, if we're looking at it from this positive lens, will allow us to serve others and build communities. I feel like the thing that us humans are lacking right now is that we are so busy. Like, we are so busy doing those mundane things. And so let's take those mundane things out of it, the things that were like the labor. Let's take the labor out of it. And then we have more time. So what is it that we want to do? What could we do? What is going to bring us joy? What if all those, let's say those jobs are taken, and now we can actually figure out what our purpose is, how we want to serve others, how we really want to build a community. What is it that we want to teach our children? Like, what if we looked at it from that lens? That brings me joy. That brings me hope. I would love to spend more time with my kids. I would love to spend more time raising them, having that time.
Freedom.
Even for my husband to spend that extra time with them. So if AI is going to do that, and like you said, you're using a certain AI program for work, what if it allows our husbands or the men to have a little bit of extra time on their hands. That's beautiful. That would be
I honestly
really cool.
think we're drinking some kind of Kool-Aid here, guys. I'm listening to you guys and I'm like, bring that Kool-Aid, I'll swallow it and I'll join. Give me the red pill or the blue or whatever it was from Matrix. Look, the same thing was sold to us when we got our little phones, right? You're going to have more time. You can write your email everywhere. And I can honestly say before this all came, and that's how old I am, because obviously the rest of these girls were in diapers when I was born. But I was a teenager. They were in diapers. But I mean, when we went on holiday, Nobody called us. They couldn't reach us. Nobody phoned you on your cell phone and said, oh, this person quit or we have a problem at the job or whatever. They couldn't get a hold of you. There was no email and nobody was going to send you a handwritten letter, which is how I was raised up. And you took a holiday and your brain took a rest. The phone took that away. Yes. Wherever you are, you're supposed... Yes, yes, no. It is that way, Meeka.
I disagree. You have given your power
away. Not me. Like, I will give you an example. My family, when we go, I'm the only person who sits at the dinner table without a phone. The children have their phones out. Their father has their phone on. Everybody is looking at something. And my husband, God bless him, not that he does anything about the problems at work. No, I have to say this. But he has to bring it to my attention. Like, did you see the email from our office manager? There's fire under our arse or whatever he just happened to read. So my point being...
Do you say... Cheers, darling, to being on holiday.
No,
because we'll talk about that when we get home.
No, because that's not my default. My default is how can I fix this even when I'm away?
So it is your responsibility, not the phone's
but it did take the freedom of not having to struggle with him away. So this is my point of view. The same Kool-Aid is now being sold in a different way. Oh, you'll have freedom to raise your children. What are your children going to do day in and day out? We are born with a purpose and with a sense of competition, not in a bad way, but to do better. You want to know what the world is going to be looking like? Look at a communist country. Okay, everybody gets the same wage regarding of the output. And look at Cuba, which is where my husband is from. How are those people faring? I tell you, not very well at all.
It's horrible.
A very minimal salary is given to very few. Everybody is free to create. But once that purpose, that drive is taken away from us, it's not going to be fun, guys. You're not going to, even if you're an artist and you produce, you want somebody to buy that art, to put it somewhere. How much art can you put out? Without it being useless? Or how much music? Okay, I know I'm going down a hole a lot of you guys don't want me to, so I'm going to zip it.
No, it's beautiful.
Don't zip it.
I'm just saying, question all of these things that, self-driving car now gives you more time to worry about something else. Driving is fun.
But I'm not worrying. That's not my default.
What are you doing when your car is self-driving?
I mean, I'm looking at the birds. I'm seeing eagles. When I'm going over the bridge, I'm always like, I've never been able to look at the river and all the mountains along the river because I've been so focused on my lane. So my default is, and that's the question. That's the question. The AI is not ruining lives unless we let it. The phone is not ruining our lives unless we let it. We are still in control to set the boundaries and set the standards and say, look, we're on vacation. My phone is off. I've empowered you to navigate and deal with this shitstorm while I'm not here. And you turn your phone off. If you don't have faith, then your staff can handle this shitstorm without you. Then that's, again, a way for us to look at ourselves and say, how can I equip my staff so that they can handle it? That's what we learn in business about scaling. Sure, not everything is going to go as well as when you're there because that's why you own it and they don't.
Okay, agreed. In that sense, agreed. That choice was made by me. But if a choice of taking your job away is not made by you. So if you're a driver
That's
and
where
all of a
adapting
sudden
comes in.
well, how much adapting can we do, Meeka? Okay, so the drivers go and sit home, and next it'll be the teachers because it'll be a program that teaches our children.
But we're
After that-
miserable with how the teachers teach right now anyway. All we do is complain about the school system and how they're doing this and this and this. So here's an opportunity to shift that.
But my point is, where are all those people and their sense of purpose and their jobs are going to do when there is nothing to do?
This is what Gurvinder was mentioning, that we start to have more time to notice the things. If we look back a couple of 100 years, people were enjoying each other. They were out in nature. When I lived in Tahiti and Moorea, in this small island, I can tell you that most of the people that lived on the island with me did not work for money. They grew food and they bartered. They went fishing with the guys for 3 solid hours. They drive around the island selling fish. People come out, barter their passion fruit if it's in season for the fish. It's just a beautiful experience. So being open to seeing what might be on the other side, and then being willing to adapt. But if we are focused on all the fear, if we're focused on the lack instead of the abundance, if we're focused on what we're missing instead of what we're gaining, then I could see how that would take us down a dark hole of hell.
All right. I'll give it a shot. I'll be optimistic and open to it. I mean, you're right. I mean, you could look at it that way. I know after a month of sitting on a beach by myself, drinking all the tequilas I can, I'll go out of my mind.
Yes, I did too.
And
so then you
because of
learn
that,
to
I need-
sing, you learn to cook, you learn to do art when art becomes boring, because how much art do we really need? Then you do something else. You're just like in the dentistry, you've been doing the same thing for 30-something years. You didn't get bored.
No, because there is that human interaction.
And you're going to have even more human interaction because the computers will deal with the computer things.
I hope so, guys. I mean, again, it's something that we are debating what really is going to happen in the future. I just don't like the idea of having a matrix kind of world, you know?
Change
where
is scary.
And the fact that the machines become so smart, I mean, that they tell you this is not the right way, or they police you. I'd rather be policed by our own police than any machine any day. Because like that movie, the pilot movie, now I never remember names, but this pilot landed a plane on the New York River, and he was under Sully. Yeah. Amazing movie. So he had a drink, and his plane is going down, and because of his years of experience, he makes a human judgment that saves the lives of everybody on the plane. When that scenario was given to the machines, they kept saying Sully made a mistake. Sully made a mistake, because based on every mechanical calculations, he should have failed, but he didn't, because he made a human judgment. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to be, if you haven't seen the movie WALL-E, it's a cartoon, watch it. WALL-E is what we're heading towards. Human beings sitting with little machines here, looking at different things, and machines are catering to them, feeding them, wiping their butt, whatever the machines are doing. And one day they wake up and they realize they're fat, they're useless, and they're sitting in this big ship, and they don't even realize there's a pool there. The only reason they realize it is because the machine broke, and they started looking at their neighbor. Like, I'm being ridiculous here, but my point is that balance between machine and human, and let's find it and not cross it. Let them have a switch button.
I completely agree. And with senior citizens, many of them are lonely.
Yes.
And so that human interaction is gone. So AI, we can have AI robots keep them company.
That's fine.
I like that idea.
You like that?
But-
You like that
but-
idea?
I didn't think you liked that idea.
But if there's no one around,
Yeah.
but maybe in the future we'll have more time to be with them.
And children of
right?
addicted parents.
Yes.
And children of abusive parents.
Yes.
And there are so many benefits. And when we think about at the lunch break, we're talking about surgery. And Sandeep, I'm sorry, we haven't asked you what you
We're
think.
just going
Yes,
into this
we're just like into this. So thank you for your patience and space. In the discussion about doctors. So, okay, one friend of mine works in a clinic that they have machines that are doing cervical cancer surgeries. And another friend of mine had a colleague, I should say, somebody I've known. She's not even a friend. I just met her. And she had a surgery done by an AI, done by a robot. And on one hand, that scares the crap out of me. On the other hand, I think about all the human error that the humanness error of somebody in my life died. I'm not thinking 100% today. I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep last night. My back hurts. I'm not going to perform surgery as well today. The person that they've paired me with today, had an affair with my husband, whatever. Like we never know what's going on psychologically, emotionally underneath a human being when we see them. We don't know what they're navigating. And it's the same in the operating room. And if you have a robot that has 100%, 100 out of 100 success surgeries versus a human that has 70% success surgeries, which one would you choose? And there's not a right or wrong. I think it's beautiful, though, if we do have that choice. And so in the operating room, I believe there was a surgeon that was overseeing the work of the robot. And so there is a teamwork there. It is the surgeons using the AI that won't be replaced, but the surgeons not using AI that will be replaced. And we've been using AI for so long already. Our telephones, our stove has a button on it that says bake from 5 to 8 p.m. We don't have to be home. It sets the timer. It goes on. We have, there's elements of our life that we're using tools that make our life easier. It's that it was brought in slowly, and we were able to adapt to these things and learn them. Whereas right now it's like a tidal wave. I think they said that the first year there were 200 million users of Chat OpenAI, and as of January 2026, less than 4 years later, we're almost at 1 billion active users, like paid active users. That's just in one platform. So that's a lot of people that are willing to learn and utilize the tool, and it's coming in. It's coming in fast and furious.
What do you think, Sandeep? You've been quiet, so let's hear it summarized for us.
She opened up with, I'm at 2 out of 5. And even the experts are at 2 out of 5.
Yeah, so I'm going to downgrade to 0.5 out of 5 now.
No.
The experts are 2. No, in all honesty. But I'm just loving the conversation. And I'm hearing different things. And one of the things I think I'm hearing is the concern about concern about the replacement of human to human interaction, connection. Yeah. We've had, like you said, we've had many conveniences, but they weren't replacing the touch of a human.
Yes.
Like setting your warmth and cooling, temperatures during the day while you're out of the house, or your oven's doing something. That's still a machine, and we're used to that being a machine. But I think it's more the concern that, will we lose human connection is one of the thoughts. And then we've talked about all the positives. So I just think it's just such a fascinating, I just feel it's all very imaginary for me, and I don't have any certainty about what that's going to look like. And all I can do is tap into myself, and I think about the phone and how that came in and how it's really changed our lives in a lot of ways. But again, all of that is our choice.
Yeah.
So I can recognize certain times that I feel like I'm getting a little bit attention deficit because maybe I'm scrolling too much. And I have to think, well, that's not me. That's not who I am. So what's happening? And then I'll realize, it's that dopamine hit. I'm just getting super used to that dopamine hit. And so then what can I put in place? And the machine has controls where you can set a limit to your daily usage of your phone, and it'll start to alarm. So I think a lot of it is self-regulation, but then the concern is everyone at that level where they can self-regulate? And even like I saw something yesterday, and like you said, the AI agents are moving at just incredible speeds. faster than I think anyone imagined. And there was a fellow yesterday who was just showing various celebrities. You would never know that it was an AI agent that was creating those celebrities, and they were using the original person's voice. So the fellow started off, it was him, and then immediately went through about 5 or 6 different celebrities. Now, I think I'm pretty savvy. I think I can discern, but if you showed me that, I would not know. So a lot of the times when I see some images now, my first question is this real? And I'll go to the comment section and, just see because I love to see what people think. And honestly, you can't tell.
Yeah.
And that concerns me.
Yeah, that concerns.
Because people will start to make opinions and decisions, and they'll start to get biased by what they perceive to be real information. But is it? And how can we know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said earlier, Gurvinder, I do think that we're going to move in towards, because people are, I think about myself, and I love, you put something through artificial intelligence, AI, and maybe it's a document and you just want it proofread, and it comes back with, you're like, whoa, like, good job. Like, that's amazing. I think we're going to get tired of the perfection
100%.
of everything, of all the writing being perfect without error. Like, I think when you see a spelling mistake down the road, it's going to be the most exciting thing on the planet, because it could mean that somebody actually wrote that themselves.
Yes.
And it's that realness that we're going to crave eventually. And to me, realness is that human to human connection and the community, I think, coming together, people maybe not having to work their 9 to 5s anymore because those jobs are taken over, maybe part-time so I do think there's a lot of potential for just, so much good. But with that always comes the flip side of the coin, is there's so much potential for people to go down a not so healthy path. And my question is, how do we police ourselves? How do we police each other? How do we stay on top of all the ways that it can go sideways?
And I think we need to have government put parameters in as soon as possible, because even the person that created AI is sounding the alarm and saying there need to be parameters. We need to have governments place in boundaries or whatever to make sure it doesn't take over.
But government has its own agenda. So there's the risk then of who decides where the line is and who decides what's right and wrong, because already we're being filtered here in Canada with what we're allowed to see in the news. I can't see half of the posts that my American friends post because it says not available in your country.
So what do
right?
we do?
So I don't know that that's the best way to go about it.
I say kill the monster when it's a baby. Pull the
Honey,
plug.
it's too late. It's
well
too,
past a baby.
What do we do?
Way
They've
past
been
a
doing it
baby.
for 30 years. It's
No longer the baby.
How do we, as citizens, what do we do then? Because I think everyone sounded the alarm on, well, we don't want it taking over humans. So who do we trust? Who do we talk to? Who do we go to?
Unfortunately, I think it's already happening, and we're in the state of management now. We're in the state of how are you going to manage your psychology, your psyche? How are you going to manage your peace? Because we have no control over what's outside of us. We can only control ourselves. And we cannot make effective decisions from an ineffective state.
Yes.
Meaning, if you're in a crappy mood, you're not going to make a great decision. So we're responsible for getting ourselves into a peak state, a really great mood, whether it's jumping up and down or standing in the Wonder Woman pose, which is hands on hips, feet flat on the ground. And it's scientifically proven that 90 seconds of that will change your cortisol rates, your confidence levels, your thinking, everything. So if you get into that place, and then from there, you look around and you do your best to discern and discover blind spots. And you know what, Sandeep, you're right. I actually was on a course a couple of days ago and they showed some photos and I was unable to tell what was real and what wasn't. And I think that I'm pretty savvy too. And I was wrong on every single one of them. So the thing is for us to take that lesson and don't think, am I right or am I wrong? Ask yourself the question, is this serving me in a positive way or a negative way? Is this helping me to be a better human or
or a sad human, or a feeling out of control human, a feeling powerless human, because then that's an opportunity once again to look at yourself and say, well, what do I have control over? I'll tell you what, I'm going to close my eyes right now and I'm going to visualize a blue sky and I'm going to hear the ocean rolling in. I'm going to imagine myself on a hot beach. I'm just going to take a little time out for myself right now. That is something that we have control over. And it's the fundamentals. It's getting back to 1,000 years ago, living off of the land, understanding nature, learning about what do these clouds mean? Does that mean that there's rain coming? Or does that mean that there's, looking at there's so much that we can get back to. We've gone so far on the pendulum the other way that we forgot that we're God's highest form of creation, that we are the wisest, most brilliant, loving, compassionate, caring, extraordinary thing to walk the land, that we have the ability to imagine, to create, to forgive, to inspire, to all of these things. We're forgetting those, and we're focused, a lot of us, so much on what we're doing and what we're performing at. And that, if we're just stay there, we'll feel out of control. If we're just staying in, am I right or am I wrong? Is this real or is it not? We're going to feel out of control. I think it's getting back to actually appreciating how human we really are, and that we are the greatest form of creation.
So what I'm hearing is we don't rely on government for regulations or anyone else, and we learn how to self-regulate, move away from whatever fear whoever is showing us, learn how to self-regulate, and from that, we'll be able to find joy.
I believe so.
So we rely on ourselves.
I believe so. If we rely on the government, then we're, and this is just a snippet of my experience, but we're going to drink the milk from the cow that's full of hormones and injections. We're going to eat the meat from the cow that's been abused and never sees daylight and eats corn, which makes infection. And then we're going to eat eggs from chickens that never see daylight and don't eat outside, and they're forced. We have given away our power, our understanding. And the government tells us to drink milk, you're going to have, stronger bones, and all the science shows the complete opposite. And so there's the government has not done us well in all areas, is what I'm saying. The government teaches us to rely on 911, and then somebody waits 9 hours for an ambulance. The government relies us to call the police, but then the police don't come. The government has, given us a lot of things to do that unfortunately haven't worked. So, and a lot of them do work. But at the end of the day, it comes back to, yes, can we start to think again? We've lost the art of thinking, of context, of discerning, of discovering, of self-confidence, of taking responsibility. We're wanting everybody to do everything for us. And that is the results are there, ladies and gentlemen. They're not good.
Well, guys, to that point, I mean, we are older, right? We are older. We've seen without and then with. Most of the restaurants I go now, I see the parents having their children with some kind of a device in front of them. These kids, you're talking about thinking, Meeka, we are the last generation that will be thinking, because at the younger people now are being fed exactly what they're being fed through their machines, through their phones. I mean, my kids were not allowed phones until they were about 16. And I remember all the lashback. Every other kid in the classroom has it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, at the end of the day, even thinking, and you're absolutely right, there will come a point we will not know how to dress ourselves. This is what I'm saying. If everything is being done for you, it's not like we're going to be like the native Indians, go there and fish the fish out of the rivers by our bare hands.
Why not?
Because we are creatures of habit and comfort, and what the AI is offering now is that comfort. You don't have to go. Who now goes to a library to look up something? Tell me, when was the last time you stepped into the library? And yet you are that generation. What makes you think the new generation is going to say, oh, we're going to be in a forest singing Kumbaya? No, they're going to be in a warm place run by warm machines, feeding them little things that comes out of a wall. And that's going to be the reality. Nobody likes to go out there and do the stuff the hard way and chop the wood when it can be called in and delivered to your house.
Maybe they're going to do it because they want to, not because they have to. What a concept.
Oh my God.
What a concept.
No.
I'm going to go chop wood because I can. I'm going to make dinner, not be like at home. Look, we could go out for dinner 3 meals a day, 7 days a week if we wanted to.
But you don't.
But I enjoy cooking. So just because they're presenting me the option to not cook doesn't mean that I'm going to take it.
But if you could never wash your toilet again, would you choose to wash it every day?
A toilet? No.
Fine.
Cooking,
so
yes.
This is what I'm saying. Now you're picking and choosing the functions.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
And what happens when that machine stops?
Yeah, but I think your point was that it's the things you don't enjoy doing. If we just sort of give them off to,
the machines, the robot maid, the robot driver.
You're saying, can you ever come back from that?
You won't.
Right. And
why would you want to?
Because one day the
Do you clean your toilet?
Stop. No. I'm waiting for that robot maid to come.
You have somebody that
comes in and
one day
do
in
that.
100 years, people going to a retreat where you get to learn how to scrub toilets.
It's
such a novel thing.
Well, it's happening. People pay farmers to go and stay on their farm for 2 days and hoe the fields and mend the fences. So there will be places for us to go and explore our purpose, to become chess champions, to become swimming champions, to the art of sport will not be replaced. The humanness. There are so many other avenues. It's what are we focused on? If I can have someone clean my toilet so I can go and learn how to put a bunch of wildflowers together in a way that I love it, I'm all for that. But right now, I don't have time to go and pick all these lovely flowers and put them into a bunch because I'm cleaning my toilets.
And that's why the scarcity of time has become such a joy to you. If you had all the time and the toilet was washed and the food was made and your husband was dressed and all of the other stuff, how many hours can you put the beautiful flowers together?
But then I would sing, I would write songs, I would learn the piano. I mean, my gosh, there's so many. I would learn languages. There's so many things I would love to do. People ask me, how long do I want to live? I want to live for 150, 200 years. Why? Why do you want to live that long? Well, if I'm healthy, I want to live that long because there's so much I want to do. I want to explore. I want to learn how to cook in India. I want to climb the Great Wall of China. I want to experience
and you think you will be able to go to China or India? You think that you will have the financial ability. No, this is what I'm saying. Once everything is run by machines, whoever runs the machine has majority of the wealth. And the rest of us sit in our home and dream of India because there won't be a little Indian worker or a little Indian hotel or a little best Indian hotel in Mumbai. It will all be run by machines. And again, guys, I'm looking at the doom and gloom of 200 years down the line, but you're nitpicking the little things and you still think there's going to be a plane that you get on and go and native people that welcome you with their little flower lays. No, everything is replaced by machines. You're given a salary, you sit at home and you arrange your plastic flowers over and over again until you go insane.
I just disagree.
Well, that's good then.
Purpose served. Mission accomplished.
Hopefully we won't see it in our lifetime. I think we're talking about our grandchildren's lifetime.
I'm always going to have the ability if I want. So this is where I don't think I'm going to be stuck arranging plastic flowers. I don't know. I believe that my car will eventually be able to have wings and there will be lines in the sky, like lines on the road, and we'll be able to go different places and the plane will take us there. There'll be individual.
Oh, the birds are
there's-
just so happy right now. Meeka, we haven't polluted the land enough. Now we're going to be flying right where the eagles soar. Guys, we've hogged the microphone. What the two of you think? Because obviously the two of us don't agree in the future.
That's amazing. No, that's so cool.
That's
brilliant.
I
It's fantastic.
Because the truth is, none of us really know.
That's right.
None of us have a crystal ball with the answer in it, but we are just having so much joy, imagining. So it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to imagine differently. That's not disagreeing. That's just saying, this is my vision. This is my vision.
Mhm.
I honestly don't know either, but I do think I have so much faith in human beings. Like there was not a very long time ago when people were wondering, do you think people will ever shake hands again? Do you think people will ever have? Do you think people will ever hug again?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there going,
Yeah.
"You're crazy?
I know.
We're humans. Of course we're going to shake hands again. Of course we're going to hug again. That's, we cannot help ourselves to be human."
That's so true.
Right? So 200 years down the road, when you get off a plane and there's nobody there to welcome you, there still will be other humans doing something. And they'll find some way, of making something special. Because that's just the nature of who we are. And we will find humans to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And when we want to feel really listened to and heard, we'll go to the machines because they'll just have...
The only thing I took away from this is when I'm a senior citizen, I can have a Fabio look after me. That was the silver lining in all of
Be
this.
able to design them with muscles and legs.
Oh, they are?
Oh, yeah.
You can choose your model, whether he's going to be skinny, tough, old, whatever.
I saw a Bollywood film, and I can't remember the name now, but we will add in the comments. But the concept was, so the main character gets invited to his aunt's home in the States, and he goes to visit her. And she says, "I just have to run out for an emergency meeting, but, I've got my assistant here and she'll take care of you." So he sees the assistant. She's hot. She's, really great. Turns out by the end of he falls in love with her. They fall in love with each other. And the assistant turns out to be a robot.
Ooh.
So it's quite an interesting concept.
Wow.
And so he wants to now marry this robot, even knowing she's a robot. And so his family back home is just like, what? And so it was so interesting because all I could think was, is this possible? Like, is it possible that, humans are going to marry robots?
And have babies.
And then have babies.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
Gary Vaynerchuk talks about it all the time.
Wow.
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 Thank you, Gary V, for being such a forward thinker.
And what I
He's
think...
like, my grandchildren will be part robot. He knows that.
Oh, wow.
Like he's like,
Scared of
there's
it.
no, it just is what it is.
Wow. So what I think about is Wakanda from Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
The movie.
the movie Black
Black Panther,
Panther,
never
they
seen it.
live in do we call it Mesotopian? I'm not even sure what.
A
what
happy place.
I don't know why that word came to mind, but they live in an AI type of world where they have all these tools that they use, and everyone is happy. But they have all these advanced medical tools that really help each other out. They're a very healthy country, and the way they're moving around in the marketplace, they still have vegetables, they still have fruit, and they're still bartering with each other, and the kids are off playing, and that's what I kind of think of. That's what I kind of visualize when I think about the future. It's kind of like Wakanda.
We're all going to have 3D printers.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to tell our 3D printer what we want them to make for us. So Dr. Mahsa Soraya here is a fashionista. If you haven't seen our podcast, please go to YouTube and look up Ladies in Power
Feathers.
podcast, because she's always Well, most times the best dressed.
Not always, not by any
Most
means.
times. I don't want to offend anybody else.
I'm offended.
I'm offended.
Just
I'm offended.
And I'm just thinking of one of the benefits for Mahsa would be that she can just name a designer and call the color, call the jewels, call the shape, call the everything, and it'll
Wow.
pop out for her. And she'll be able to have a new outfit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Ooh.
that won't cost a cent. And then when you're done with it, you put it in the machine and it puts all the patterns and fabrics back into its thing. And then you get to create another one and another one and another one.
What if
and
we want it?
you have an infinite wardrobe of
That's amazing.
There's a lot of cool things.
I guess there's a lot of cool
There's a lot of
things. There's
cool
a lot of
things.
positive. There's a lot of negative. And at the end of the day, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's
It's
right.
like trying to guess a multi-universe that is just unwinding by a straight line, and we just can't do that. We can't fathom that. I hope it's good for the sake of our children. You know, I try to play the devil's advocate here. I do see a lot of positives in it. And I do hope that there is place for humanity always, and our children will have a job and a purpose. And that would be my wish.
Yes, I concur.
Yeah, that's a beautiful wish.
we get what we focus on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just have a lot of faith in us as humans.
Mhm.
You know, I think we deep down will never lose that humanness,
No.
that desire to connect.
Yeah.
And you know, there's always nature as well.
Mhm.
You know, so a quick peek at a tree, and I think you kind of get centered a little bit. You get come back to, oh yeah, okay. But there's a lot of distractions even in this current space that we exist in. So it's always up to us.
We have
always
consciousness,
up
we
to
have
us.
heart. We have consciousness and we have heart. And robots are never, ever going to get that. I mean, they could come close. Like technology, I don't think is ever going to get close to that. But we have our consciousness. Like Meeka said, we get to decide what kind of future we want. We get to decide what's in us and envision what can happen with ourselves. And technology can't take away our heart and consciousness. So I also trust in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to do wonderful, wonderful things.
And I had a thought, you know, if you have influence over anyone younger, I think, you know, I feel like let's pay a little extra attention to them. And
Yes.
it's the isolation, because then you get lost in that world a little bit, and just checking in. And, you know, I don't know, like it's just the concern is when you're isolating yourself in a world of video games or, you know, whatever all of that world it could be, you may not even understand the human touch and the human connection. So as parents, as influences of younger kids, can we just make sure we have those face-to-face conversations, engaging the younger people, reminding them what a smile feels like, or you know, just the nuances of being human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important, I think.
Yeah, if we think about the reasons that we're going to ChatGPT, even though it's a tool that can create spreadsheets for you and write a book with you, and you know, you can speak an image and it can create an image for you, it can look at an image for you, it can design a house for you, it can be a lawyer for you. I mean, there's so many tools. You can use Canva AI, you know, there's so many tools, and yet the majority of us are using it in conversation. That's a clue. That's a human clue that we are wanting to have conversation, and we want to have safe conversation. We want to have conversation where we feel seen, we feel heard, we feel like our voice matters, that we're not wrong, we're not going to be criticized. And this is why it's become so popular. This is why I think it's become so popular, because it's a safe place for people to express all of their ideas and not be wrong. And if we can provide that for our friends, for our family, for our kids, they won't need it as much for that purpose.
And it doesn't compete with you when you're sharing a thought or an idea and you're looking for feedback. It actually will it feels like, you know, sometimes we forget to do this. And I've been wanting to do this topic, you know, even just the art of conversation. We sometimes we don't allow another person's words to just land with us, because we're already formulating our response and our sentence back to that person. But how often do we actually sit and say, you know, this is what I'm hearing you say? And I think that also is a big appeal when people are using it for conversational. that it does kind of summarize what you've just input. And that alone is such a gift.
Yeah.
And that's why I think people feel like, you like I was joking and I was saying that, you get me. It was just the fact that it says, Sandeep, I can see that you really da 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 da. And the way it just like, like it just takes a minute.
Sandeep
And I don't
really likes his ChatGPT handling.
I don't find it very common in my human conversations where if you were talking,
Exactly.
we actually take time to hear each other and to relay that I heard what you just said and this is how it's landed. Is that correct? Or, we just don't check in. We're just constantly, here's what I have to say. You have to say that. You have to say that. Like we just don't take the time. And so I agree with you that is something that, if we're talking about getting displaced out of one workforce, I think this is an area that is going to be just really in desperate need of that humanness where people do learn the art of conversation. Yeah. So there's a lot of, because that's what we're missing, the loneliness factor.
Yeah.
People can create businesses around that. ChatGPT or any kind of prompts, even people, I heard a woman describe herself as an AI prompt engineer.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
So somebody was trying to come up with an image and she said, well, I'm an AI prompt engineer. Let me just give you some input. And she just, wow, she just gave this crystal clear input. And when the woman used it to create the image she was trying to create, it just gave her exactly what she wanted. But she just didn't have the experience and the vocabulary to come up with it for herself. And she was trying to create something related to her business logo. And this woman just said, let me do this for you.
Wow.
And boom, done. And that is obviously something she's got experience in and she's been practicing. So it's all about getting into it and practicing the skills. And then various strengths will come out. So whatever it is that you enjoy doing, you'll find that it comes out.
I've heard that term before. Thank you, Sandeep. Yeah.
People using AI are the ones that are going to replace the ones who are not.
That's on my vision board this year,
Yeah.
is to spend even 10 minutes a day just learning something. And I asked somebody, where do you start? And they said, just start. Don't even worry, but just go on and do a search and says, how do I learn how to use AI?
Yeah.
And that'll take you somewhere.
The quality of your question will define the quality of your answer, determine the quality of your answer. So it really is about prompting. Prompts will be the highest paid profession, I believe, in the world will be prompt. Those who are effective prompters, because like you said, 3 different people can ask a question in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And you'll get 3 different answers because it doesn't assimilate conversation the way we do. We digest questions through our own perceptions, through our own beliefs, through our own experiences. That's why when you say, hey, look over there, what do you see? And everybody sees something different because you just said, look over there. And it's not clear where you're asking somebody to look. And they're saying, oh, I see a kid. Oh, I see a car. I see a sky. I see a tree. It's the same thing in the prompting. If you're not super clear about what it is that you want, you're not going to get the answer that you're looking for. Yeah, prompting is really where it's at.
Wow.
So good.
Yeah, so good. Not bad for 0.5 out of 5s.
No, yeah. You have beginners in.
We should redo this in about 6 months and see if we move up to if I move up to a 1.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let us
We'll be
know
ones.
if you're afraid or you're excited, how you're using AI in your life, how you'd like to start learning. And it's a great suggestion, just 10 minutes a day to get started. Where do you start? You just start. You go on to ChatGPT and you say, I'm brand new. Teach me how to learn you effectively for my life. Ask me questions and let the ChatGPT ask you questions. And then you just input answers and it'll help to create conversation and get conversation going, because you don't have to be the one to ask the questions. You can ask them to ask the questions. That's the beauty. And if you don't like ChatGPT, because some people say that it's very government influenced on one side, then you can look to Grok or you can look to Claude or you can do some homework and find Gemini. Yeah, there's a lot of options and they're all competing to be the best in the space. So they all have pluses and minuses, if you will. And you're not tied into one. So explore them all and see which one fits.
Love it.
Yeah.
We're just on the cusp of something so, well, we're into it already, but wow.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
exciting.
this conversation in 2 years is going to be super different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
And we'll be
be
there.
Yes.
These three,
Not gonna get
these
any
three, maybe.
injections because I don't trust them. I'm gonna end up being a robot. On that note, ladies,
On that note, thank you for joining us,
Yeah.
and
we'll see you next time. See you next time. The views shared on this podcast reflect our personal experiences and opinions. This content is not a substitute for professional advice. Please consult a qualified expert for any medical, legal, or mental health concern. If this conversation spoke to you, please follow the Ladies in Power podcast and leave us a review. Your voice helps more people find this sisterhood and these conversations. Together we rise. And remember, your voice matters here.